I do want to give a shout out to Coach Sharon Moore, our new black head coach, first black head coach at the University of Michigan, and all of the Wolverines. I was up in Ann Arbor yesterday at the U of M golf course, and some coaches and a lot of former players. Some of the guys I actually played with were there. Jim Brandstatter, for example, and but it was a fun event for FAM, Football Alumni of Michigan, and got to meet and talk with our running back Donovan Edwards, and he was a tremendous young man. And but what was so exciting for me, one of the real exciting things, I hadn't met Coach Moore before. I remember when Michigan had Jim Harbaugh was suspended, and Coach Moore was the interim head coach, and he's a black gentleman and coach. If some of you do not know that, and he coached, I don't know, 4 or 5 games, and he coached the Ohio State game, which we beat him again for the third year in a row. So it was great, but I was looking forward to meeting Coach, and I saw him at a distance, and I started walking towards him, and I got about 4 feet away. He said, "Billy Taylor," and I was like shocked. I was surprised, such a generational gap that he recognized me, knew me. I'm still a handsome guy. I don't quite look like I did as a senior at Michigan, but anyway, that was a great event. And go blue! I expect Michigan to uh, go back to back with national championships. It's going to be a big season for Michigan. But anyway, there's a lot going on uh, in the news. Go back a week or so ago, there was an assassination attempt for former President Donald Trump, and everybody knows me know I'm not a Donald Trump fan, but also I'm totally against violence and attempted assassinations, uh, of anyone, even someone that I don't particularly care for or support. And I thought that was just horrible. But anyway, uh, what uh, what has happened as a result of politics over the past few weeks? Uh, I've always been saying I'm riding with Biden, and I still am. But he had a not so good debate, and everybody was, jumping on his case. I think that was kind of unfair. He did have a bad night, no doubt about it. Um, but anyways, as everyone probably knows, he has decided not to run again. He has stepped down and has nominated his vice president Kamala Harris uh, to be at the top of the ticket, and I think that was a wise decision. It was the right decision. I was kind of concerned, being a black man in America, and I know our history and experience here, and I thought possibly somebody may would try to not make her uh, put her at the top of the ticket because she's black and because she's a female. There, I just said it, but the right thing was done. Joe Biden did the right thing. I mean, that's American politics because the vice president is the second, in line for the presidency, and then I think Speaker of the House. You know, so but the enthusiasm behind Kamala Harris. I think there's 70 million people that are now voting and donating and volunteering that were doing nothing, after the debate prior to the announcement. So I'm happy about that. And I think that the Democratic ticket is about the future, and the Republican ticket with uh, the adjudicated felon Trump at the top of it. That's a whole nother thing that just doesn't make sense to me, and it connects with the perilous times that we live in. Uh, because I think back, my mom loved Ike, who was a Republican. Eisenhower, I liked him. I was just a kid. My mom liked him. I liked him. You know, and I got to meet President Nixon. I had an invite to the White House as a college athlete. So I'm just mentioning this, that I'm not a hater of any party, but I feel more connected to the Democratic Party. But what I want to, the point I want to make is how drastic things have changed. I mean, no party, during my lifetime until uh, currently, would be for violence and lying and cheating. And, here, just think about it. What's really scary in America, we have uh, probably a third of the country supporting 45, the former president, and he's been impeached twice. He has 34 uh, charges he's been found guilty of, fraud and lying and corruption. And he's been found guilty of rape and sexual defamation. Um, yet he's at the head of the ticket. And I think last week I mentioned Gary Hart, who was a top candidate for the Democratic, party, but he was seen on a boat, excuse me, with a model in a two-piece outfit. And the pushback behind that, he had to resign, because of that. Now, that was wrong. He's a married man, but I think that pales a lot, against, he has 90 some charges against him, found guilty of by his peers, a court of 30 plus, 34 of them or something like that, and then guilty of rape and defamation. And but somehow it's okay. I just can't connect to that, and that's one of the reasons. This is one of the things that I've always said, why that we are living in perilous times. There's something in Scripture, and I have my co-host who's not in the studio today, uh, the good Bishop Terry Cox. But we're living in a time where uh, things that were once considered wrong are now right. I have that right, Bishop? And things that were once considered right are now wrong. It seems like we're living at a time where anything goes. Can we get Bishop in on this? I want to hear
Oh,
his
you got that
comments
right.
about that. Yeah, this is what I call perilous times. I don't use the terminology, Bishop, that we are living in end times or the end of days. I don't want anybody to think, that I come with negative message, but it's worthy of thought, to think about how life is today and the things that are acceptable that, just a couple of decades ago is no way, that it would be approved and acceptable. For example, with a felony conviction, I don't think uh, you could qualify to be a teacher or a fireman or work in a post office. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that would disqualify you. Yet we have a president with all of these convictions. He's a convicted felony. Yet he's at the top of the Republican Party. He's running the party. The Republican Party doesn't even exist anymore. I call it the
Couldn't
Trump
call it
Green
why
Party.
for.
Huh? Say that again, Bishop. Uh, I can't hear you, Bishop. But anyway, how things have changed. What was once right is now wrong. What was once wrong is now right and very, very acceptable. For those listening, if you want
I'm
to
just saying that.
call in,
I'm just saying that. No.
you were just saying what? There's, I'm having trouble hearing Bishop. Can we get that corrected? Anyway, I was about to say for those that are listening that want to call into the show to make a comment or ask a question, the call in number is 234 404 3887. Once again, the call in number is 234 404 3887 for a comment or question. Um, do we have Bishop with us now? We've lost Bishop. Okay, so I'll just go solo. But um, we have a caller. Who's our caller? Um, Eddie. Eddie Treadwell. Hey Eddie, how you doing? Thanks for
What?
calling. Get back up. How
Hey,
are you, my brother?
a prisoner at the Michigan Department of Corrections, Ernest C. Brooks Facility. If you feel you are being victimized or extorted by this prisoner, please contact GTL
I don't
Customer
need to hear all of
Service
that.
at 855-466-2832. To accept this call, press. Please try again later.
Hopefully, we'll work that out. Sorry, Eddie, couldn't get you on live. Uh, but what I want to do now, I have a friend, Greg. Greg, I won't use your last name. You told me I could, but he sent me some information about the times that we're living in. And I always on the show say we're living in perilous times. And we truly are. I've given some examples already, but I'm looking at my phone here, and a lot of people even say we're living at a time where the Antichrist has arrived, you know. And I think from scripture, there's a mention of there's going to be more than one, and then seemed like there's a more principal one. I'm Dr. Taylor. My doctorate's in educational leadership, not theology, and I'm a teacher, not a preacher. Although I know a few things about the Bible, and I have strong faith and trust in God, but that's one of the reasons that I say we're living in perilous times because of some of the examples that I've given earlier in the show. Now, uh, Greg sent me this about the Antichrist. Is he the lawless one? Okay. And he backed it up with scripture. I think Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. Is he the lawless one? So if there's some church people, some ministers, pastors, or whatever that want to make some comment, please feel free to call in. And that number is, do we have it on the screen? It's right there on the screen. 234 3887. That's one question. Number two, is he the boaster, speaking of his own greatness? I think is he the lawless one, and is he the booster, the boaster, speaking of his own greatness? I think that's true, and that's in Daniel, chapter 7, uh, verses 8 through 11. But anyway, um, like I say, I'm not a minister. I do have some notes here. Thirdly, is he the arrogant one? And of course he is. Uh, there's about 10 of these. So I'm just going to go down the list. Is he a pathological liar? Of course he is. I think one study said during his presidency, he lied over 800,000 times. That's a whole lot of lies, you know. Next, is he the builder of towers? Well, let me see. There's Trump Towers, right? Okay. And does he routinely break treaties? Of course he does. So I think these things are applicable. Okay, let me continue with this list. Is he deceitful and attempts to lure the church into following him? Yes, he has a huge. What do you call those Christians that follow him? I can't think of it. But anyway, he has a huge following of church leaders. And how can that be when just the previous things that I've mentioned that apply to him? You know, that's not exactly uh, Christian like behavior, I don't think. Uh, is he the man of sin? Yes. And that's in Thessalonians. Okay. Does he brag about being the chosen one? Second Thessalonians. Yes, he does. He brags all the time. Does he show no compassion or empathy? It, he's been in the news for the last 4.5 years for sure, and prior to that. But these things apply to him. uh is he the son of perdition? I guess that's saying like of the devil or evil one, or somebody that's not good. uh, I don't know much about his dad, other than his dad left him 400 and some $1 million. If my dad was able to do that and left that amount of money, I'd be a billionaire too. Uh, and is he the destroyer? So that's a list of things that my friend Greg, that we grew up with, sent me. Uh, and he firmly believes, he says I can use his name, but I won't I'll just go with his first name. Uh, this is crazy. Okay. We have Kim Travis. In some cases, a convicted felon cannot vote, but he has a right to run for the highest position in our country. That's just ludicrous. Wow. Kim, hold on here. Uh, who wrote that? Kim Travis. Thank you, Kim. And you're right on. I mean, how can this be? How can he run for the highest office in the land and have so much support from, quote, supposedly law-abiding citizens and Christians? you know the man is just flat wrong, on so many levels. And how can he still qualify to be uh to run for the office of president? I mean, it's really scary. My niece in Ohio, she told me, Uncle Bill, if this man gets in office, we got to find somewhere to move to leave, like outside of the country. And I'm seriously thinking about that, but I'm praying also that God, the supreme being, my high power, will not allow this person to get even close to the Oval Office again. I mean, it's really scary. And I'm not a biased or prejudiced man or person, but the list that I just went down, and just following, what's happening in the news politically, um, he's just wrong. He's just not a nice person. I mean, and uh, you know, character, it's just nothing there, especially to be considered the highest office in the land. But Kim, thank you for your comments. Uh, Also, Kim is saying he pretty much lied every time he opened his mouth. Like I mentioned before, uh, some statistician mentioned that during his presidency, he told approximately 800,000 lies. My goodness, it's just unbelievable. You know, it's really crazy. Um, do we have another caller? Okay. Anyway, let me get the good Bishop Terry Cox in. Is he available? Do we
Doc,
have Brother Cox? Brother Cox, are you there? Okay, we got to work these things out. But just, I would appreciate
So,
it.
do you have me on the phone?
Okay, now I hear you. You have some
All
comments
right,
about,
long as you hear me.
okay. Uh, and I suppose our audience can hear him as well, right, team? Okay. I know you got some comments, being the good bishop. You got some comments on the things that I was just discussing with our audience regarding the former president. As always, anyone that call in, and including my co-host, we can agree to disagree. But
Well, I tell you, you've been on point, Doc, because the lies told and just being surprised about how many felonies and convictions, and it speaks to the moral decline of our communities. Because how is it a person with all of these negative things still has such a high draw to a certain group of people?
perilous
However,
times.
I
Go
yes,
ahead.
sir. Perilous times. And I do appreciate how you talked about earlier in the podcast the resounding beauty of the response from having Kamala Harris. And one of the things I want to, because one of the things that I want to mention about that is that her and Barack Obama are.
We have an echo there, Bishop.
I'm
If
getting
you
the
have,
echo on my side.
maybe you turn your sound down on your phone or something. I don't know.
Okay. How is this? Is this any better?
A lot better.
A lot better. All right.
Yeah.
We're working it out. I'm available, but we're having challenges. So you're gonna hear me by phone. You might not see my face unless I'm frozen. But anyway, now one of the things that I wanted to mention was that we have a contrast between Barack Obama and Kamala Harris,
What's
who
the
are both in the White House. Out of 16 years of American history, we've had a Black American or an African American, which is really a misnomer, for 12 years. Barack was there 8. Kamala has been there 4. But the uniqueness about Kamala Harris and Barack Obama, that they are the recipients of having free-lived parents. Barack's father was African, who's never been part of the American slave trade. Miss Harris, she's part Indian and something else, but her parents, they are both immigrants, but neither of them were suffered the atrocities of the American slave trade. This is not to say that any of their parents didn't have any challenges, but they were not brought up and they did not go through the mental conditionings of the what we would call the African American, which really is a euphemized term to say that you have been brainwashed through slavery. Because when we have our Nigerians and our other people who come from Africa, they will not classify themselves as African American because they understand what that tone meant. But however, dealing with the surge of energy over the weekend when Biden made the call. Vice President Kamala Harris was definitely showed why she was the pick, because she already had an infrastructure that was able to take this moment over. She didn't have to make phone calls to try to put something together. It was already together. So Sunday night, black men, women winning with black women. The women came on Sunday night on I think the Star Network. They raised $1.6 million. I don't know how long it took them to do that. And then on Monday night, the black men came online with Roland Martin, and in 4 hours they raised 1.3 million. And as you said, over $100 million. This has been the fastest and largest amount of money raised in political history. So definitely have to give our kudos to our standing president. I think Joe Biden is going to go down as one of the most unique and diverse presidents of all times. Nobody's perfect, so if you're looking for a perfect rendition, then hey, go back to sleep. But what he has done, I believe, for America, not just Black America, but for America, because on both sides you can see where there's negativity with the 3-strike laws that he talked about. You know, he was proud of that, and that put a lot of Black men in prison. However, to be the second in command behind the first Black president, that took a strong dude for a European male, and then to be a European male and have a so-called minority African American woman to be his vice president, that's very strong. And then to, like you said, unprecedented in my lifetime, never has a sitting president who has already galvanized the candidacy for his party, yielded and turned it over to his vice president. So yes, we're living in perilous times, but now we have some perilous decisions that we have to make. You know, how strong are we going to get behind this woman? How well we are going to protect her from the negative lies and the strolls that are coming out. Because the thing about 45, for me, he's a watch. I was watching some different podcasts this weekend, and I'm watching how the Republican Party has the audacity to start impeachment process on the vice president over
it's crazy.
over the wall in the border. Really, you all are so they are so afraid of her. They've already started the impeachment process.
I'm telling you,
trying to get her out.
45, he does not want to debate Kamala Harris, not at all. You know, she's a prosecutor, you know, and she is ready for him. She mentioned that you know, she's really looking forward to it, and that she knows his type of person that lie and cheat and discriminate, and you know, she's dealt with that, and rapists, which he has been found guilty of. There's like 34 charges he's been found guilty of.
Well, and I hear a lot of people talking about if that was me. No, because you don't have that kind of money, have that kind of lawyer power. When America, I think one of the things that Kamala is going to bring to the table is that America has to come to grips with her truth.
Right.
I hear people talking about Trump being the Antichrist.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't give the dude that kind of power. However, I would say America has more opportunity to be the platform for an Antichrist than any other country.
Well,
because
I
America
pits
itself
be more than
as
one of them. It's supposed to be more than
well,
one of them. I think he
they say there's supposed to
qualified.
be more than one Christ.
One Antichrist.
Well, but he doesn't. He doesn't. For me, he doesn't qualify because one, the model supposed to be of the Antichrist is one that he appears to be good, but then he has darkness on the back corner.
Oh man, he does appear to be good. He appears to be good to a whole lot of people. He got a whole lot of followers that.
Well, I'm not talking about
good.
The sick. I'm talking about any time a man can come and say, "Hey, grab a woman," da. You know, you don't call that good.
Well, that's
like
the perilous times
about
we
Mr.
live
Hart.
in. A whole lot of people don't have.
But that's the perilous times. But
we're all living in it.
I don't think it's so much that people don't have a problem in it. There are, and I like what Kamala's talked about, which she echoed what the Republicans mentioned when it comes to the abortion rights. We want to get government out of the house. Government is coming in and told parents how they could parent. So a lot of let me go back to my point. The lies that America has told and the miseducation that they've given to the country, not to blacks, not to whites, but to the country as a whole, and the propaganda that they've sent abroad. There are so many truths that have not been told that when it comes down to the country and the people who are listening, to understand that they're telling different stories to different sets of people. And I say they, I'm talking about the powers to be. America is built on the premise of that they don't want to be like England, but yet America needs an underclass. So therefore, this is what part of slavery was, an underclassmanship. So they said, hey, everybody's created equal unless you are a slave or an indentured servant. So that was built into the fabric of that, and they didn't say black. So a lot of times people say, they call blacks 3/5 of people. No, they call the slaves and people who understand history, slavery, really the term slave came from the Slavics, who were some Europeans who couldn't handle the heat, who could not handle the work,
Good
and yet they
Bishop.
want to call black folk lazy.
Good Bishop. We don't have to
Yes.
interrupt you for a minute. We have a brother Treadwell who is incarcerated. He has a limited time to talk. I want to have him make a comment, and then we want to maybe take a short break. But the conversation's so good, we just might go through the whole hour. But I'll say that America,
Yeah.
home of the free and the brave, built on the backs of slaves. Let's bring in brother Treadwell. Brother Treadwell, Eddie.
Yeah, how you doing today?
We're hanging
How
in
you
there,
doing?
man.
This is Mr. Eddie Treadwell.
Yes, sir.
That's good. I'm at Brooks Correctional Facility here in Michigan, and my number is 205-017. They can JPay me or Facebook me. No, not Facebook. I ain't got Facebook. But JPay me here at Michigan Prison if you'd like to have finish the conversation. But me and you, we discussed that about Donald Trump, and you were saying that Donald Trump was, you say Biden is something and Donald Trump is the other side.
Well, okay,
right?
I'll repeat
And
that.
I was telling guys a week.
I say Joe Biden is a man with flaws, and Trump is a demon with claws.
That's right. And I was telling the guys here a week before he was shot at that, I wouldn't surprise me if that was to be the case. A week later, somebody shot at Donald Trump because people have a great dislike for the man based upon the things that he do and what he stands for, right? And it's hard for people who disagree with him to accept him even in running for the presidency, right? But I'm looking at it in a light where is that what is the presidency going to do for the inner cities, for the states, for Michigan, for Detroit, for Flint, for Baltimore, the ghettos in Baltimore? I think people need to galvanize the voters in these particular states to put the representatives in office that will make a great difference to these particular states that suffer, like the prosecutor's office, certain judges that give these long sentences out. You know what I'm saying? People
vote
like that,
Kamala
we need to get rid
Harris.
of them and have people
vote for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris. Yeah. See, we need to speak on that as well. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that it's to dismiss the election of the presidency, but because we know the electoral vote is the one that's going to really put them in office. And I think the people in office, but I think the electoral vote is not going to put Donald Trump in office. So these supposed to be ones that's more educated and they're going to go against the will of the people. I'm saying we ain't talking about putting Donald Trump in office. We talking about putting Kamala Harris in office.
I hope so.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's the better of the candidates, and I think Electoral College is going to recognize that if when it comes time to vote. You know what I'm saying? The people may say, Eddie, Trump, if you got all these supporters, go ahead.
I want to say something about that Electoral College. That's just a sham. It's something that's built in so that corrupt folks can still manipulate the system. From what I understand, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that you can win the popular vote, but the Electoral College cannot go along with the popular vote of the states and elect a person that a majority of the people do not want. And that's a bunch of crap. If in any race, in my opinion,
can I interject on that? I think like 3 times it happened already that they did that. They went against the popular vote. I think if it do become to be a popular vote,
you have 60 seconds remaining.
Against Trump too and vote for Kamala Harris, because I think that people would educate. I think they know that she would be the best candidate for the job.
Close out your thoughts. You only have 60 seconds, 50 seconds now. Come with it.
Okay. Well, my thoughts will be that we need to do something because people like me and others living in the ghettos is suffering. You know what I'm saying? We suffering bad. We don't need to be having all these. We don't need all the conversations. Conversations need to ignite.
action and thought. You know what I'm saying? We need to come up with solutions to the problem instead of pointing out the problems. People come to be aware of the problems, but we need to solve the problem. How can we solve the problems that we are faced with today? That's the question. I want to come up with a podcast, say the Solution Podcast. That's what the name I want to name it. We want to come up with solutions. We want to find answers. You know, we need to find answers to the.
Thank you for using GTL.
Well, we're hopeful on this podcast that we will or shall offer some solutions. But thank you for your call, Brother Treadwell. But yeah, we're living in perilous times.
Hey, Bill, we're going to stay on or we're going to take a break?
There's no doubt
because
about
I want to respond to a couple of things that Brother Treadwell said.
Well, we're going to take a quick break and then we come back and you can make some comments.
All right, Doc. I'm watching you. Look here. I'm watching you dead live from the podcast, so I'm seeing everything.
Write this number down: 234-404-3887. And I want to go back to how Kamala Harris made her money. Let's just be real. Does it really matter what she made it legal? And I agree with them wholeheartedly. You know, the one that heads the Trumplican ticket who is not qualified. Kamala Harris, what kind of qualifications do you need? And as she said the other day or yesterday, that she will be happy to compare her record, background, etc., to his. You know, his is about lying and cheating and sexual abuse and just a whole lot of other things, you know. But, you know, he doesn't talk much policy uh, that I know of because he probably really doesn't know much about policy. But my main thing against him, and I want to say for the record, I felt really bad about this assassination attempt. As much as I dislike him, I don't think he should be assassinated. I just don't want him in the White House again. And, you know, it's really scary because God forbid if that ever happened, I'm probably going to have to move. You know, I don't know, Costa Rica, Mexico.
Do you really think it was a real assassination attempt?
I do think it was real. I do. You know,
I don't think it was real.
I don't think he's that stupid to have somebody shoot that close to your head from, I don't know, 100, 200 yards away. Uh, you know, I don't think.
Well,
I don't think he would have.
If you check with any, you check with any marksman's high-powered rifle and their bullets, whoever that bullet hit in the crowd, their bodies would have had a big splash. Blood would have been everywhere. It wouldn't be some small wound where you drag somebody out and you barely see the blood on them.
Well, I haven't seen the bodies of whoever it hit. You know, I haven't seen any of that.
That's what I'm saying. Just like Hollywood.
Why would they show that? Why would they show that? Well, the person that was killed. Yeah, I think about the family and how gory that might have been.
Here we go, Doc. Here we go. When you want to talk perilous times, you want to talk scrupulousness. Every president who was assassinated was assassinated on a Friday. The bullet didn't miss. Only the Republican Party has had two candidates that were attempted to be shot, and they were shot on the weekend. And they did not die. One was Ronald Reagan, and the other was Trump. Reagan, when he got in office, he was not really doing well. But after the attempted shoot, it was like, oh, he's a strong man. He's ready to take a bullet for the country. No, he wasn't ready to take no bullet for the country.
Think about it. As little as I think about Trump, I don't think he's that stupid. I think he's stupid, but I don't think he's that stupid.
It's not stupid
trust somebody to shoot that close to your head. No, man, we need to talk about something else. We need to talk about something else.
Look. Who's to say that the brother got shot? We haven't seen his ear. There's no loss of hearing, you know. But if you watch the media behind that, it's like, the most people will take a bullet for their family, but Donald Trump was ready to take a bullet for the country. No, Dr. King stood on the balcony.
I think we need to find something more important to talk about than that. You know.
Look, don't be scared to talk. But anyway, let me get back to what Brother Treadwell was saying.
Yeah.
And this is what I was saying earlier. You asked the question. So the Electoral College, the founding fathers, first of all, says that, because let's go back to America. When America was founded, the priest and only elite were able to read. This is a capitalized country, which means that it is for profit.
It's outdated. The Electoral College, they need to represent.
It might be outdated, but the books are still the books are still on the law. So now the Electoral College was started by the founders. They said we want the people to believe that they are part of the process. So we will give them some say-so, but they're too ignorant to know really what's going on. Foreign affairs, import, exports. So while we're giving them the opportunity to believe what's going on, we're going to set up a system that at the end of the day, that we're going to be able to vote ourselves, and we will put the most qualified person in. So the electoral college is set up on a system of one, every state, two senators. So every state is going to have two, and then it goes by how many delegates.
Going back further than that, the electorates, those individuals were the more educated, as I understand it, and they represented large geographical sections of the country where people probably couldn't even read or write, so they represented them. But we don't need that anymore. We don't need that.
Well,
I know who I want to vote for.
That's how. Well, the thing about it is that might not be what we need, but until the legislative body and Congress changes that law, that's how it goes.
Well,
the state that I'm coming from, Nevada, they had fake electors going to turn in the thing because they didn't like who
that's
Nevada
why I say
had
it's
picked.
A sham. It's a sham.
Right.
It's a way to cheat.
But like Brother Trent would say, if we don't educate people and we do something positive about it, talk is cheap. But when you know what the challenge is and what we're facing, that's why people must participate not only in the national election, but we have to get to our community grassroots, understand what's going on in our communities, make things happen. Because, excuse me, if we're going to make a change, a positive change, everyone has to get involved in a positive way. America is built on this thing of divide. As a matter of fact, George Washington really was not comfortable with the two-term party because he said it only divides. America is not black and white. It's a conglomerate of many colors, but that's what put it in the forefront. And America, and when I started earlier, I talked about how thuggish America is. What America spends the most money on is military power. So if you don't like what America stands for, America is going to get rid of you in some form. That's why we have military bases all over the world. So if anybody's going to be anything like an antichrist, America act like it's good, but America has run more tests and poisoned more people and done more things on an international scale. That's why we have to be precautious about who we let in,
Well, I think
who's done, because
Iran, for sure, and I think other Islamic countries, states, or whatever, but I'm pretty sure Iran, they refer to America as a great Satan, and probably some of that applies. But I've traveled most major countries on the globe, and I still would rather be here in America than somewhere else. However, if 45 ever get back in the Oval Office, I'm going to go somewhere else for a little while until, his term is over. But on the electoral college,
I had a friend of mine say, look,
basically, the origin was representatives representing people that were all out in the territories that couldn't read and write. And so from each of those territories, they had certain electorates that would represent these people, supposedly their voices, and vote for them. We don't need that. 19th, 20th century, people know how to read and write. People know how to vote. I think in simplifying it, in any election, whether you're running for student council or whatever, anybody that gets the majority of the votes should win an election.
Well, get ready for Trump, because based on what you said, you don't have to have any intellect. You just need popular appeal. And that's what Trump has gone with. He's gone with popular appeal. He don't care whether his constituents read, write, know what's wrong from right. As long as I get the vote. I forget what show he had. The firing show he was on. The thing about it is, in America, especially with the television, it is about eyeballs, popularity, and the intellectuals were saying, hey, there are a lot of people who can pull some stuff over you, but if the only thing a person needs to be is good looking, our great evangelist, Billy Graham, the reason that he got on television and stayed so long, the beginning of television, he was a tall, slender, good-looking white male preaching the gospel.
I don't know. I know my aunt, my great aunts and mother, they used to listen to Billy Graham a lot. I don't never remember him being so handsome, good looking, and all of that. But
I'm trying to tell you, he was on he was on television.
I know.
Because television has been about the eyeball appeal. That's why the girls got to look nice, the guys got to be sharp, because
Absolutely.
the eye is the biggest deceiver. Huh?
I
The
absolutely.
eye
You
is the
know,
big
you watch TV, you watch movies, or you watch TV shows, and
right.
all the women are pretty.
Ain't
Whatever
nobody
their culture
right,
is,
right.
they're
The,
slim and
on the
shapely and
commercial when they trying to
pretty.
sell you a boat, they ain't got no fat, ugly girl that got pimples and cellulite and all that. They're gonna give you that, you know. So, but anyway, Doc, with like you were saying, one, the new movement that Biden had, and I definitely want to give the president much love because that was a very bold move that he made. And I do understand, especially with people that are over 65 and 70, I think I like how the party is not casting him aside. They just help nudge him, I think, to
Well,
make
he's still the
a better
president.
decision for the.
Yeah, I think that he
Huh?
was. He's still the president. I think he was treated kind of harshly and unfairly, you know, after the debate, you know. But I think in the end, he took a minute, but he did the right thing and just passed the torch, and it
Right.
has energized the Democratic base and party, and it's a good thing. I was saddened about it because I've been saying I'm riding with Biden, you know, because I think he's a decent human being. As I said before, with flaws, everybody has some flaws, but Trump has claws. He's a demon with claws. I mean, come on, people, be for real. You know, and that's what's so scary. These perilous times. How can a third of the country support a person like this? And as I mentioned on one
They were
show,
taught. They. Mhm.
I mentioned on one show there was uh, a couple years ago when this whole MAGA uh, thing started and people were wearing the MAGA hats. And there was some person in, I don't know, Arkansas, one of the southern states, was running for reelection. And he had his hat on, and an astute uh, news person say, "Hey, America is already great. America has been great. What are you talking about? Make America great again." So, what do you mean by that? And he actually said on national news, and I wish I could think of his name. He said, they asked him, when was America great if we're not great now? He said, when we had plantations. That's right, audience. This person said, when we had plantations. Well, he really said when we had slaves, you know.
But that ain't no new news. That's no that's no new news. So, and this is part of the thing. We want to act like some things are new news. It's not new news. So, what you wearing today, Bill? Are you wearing a Michigan shirt today?
Oh, ain't no question. I'm a true blue Wolverine, and I'm a member
Okay.
of Alpha
All right.
Phi Alpha
Now watch this right
Fraternity
here.
Incorporated.
Right. Now. Look. Now watch this right here. If you look at the Wolverines,
Don't get
Michigan
yourself in
Wolverines,
trouble.
Look. Hear what I'm saying? Everything about the Wolverines college atmosphere ain't always been squeaky clean.
And
But you got people to turn their
that's
head about
true.
the ugliness.
That's
Hold
true
on,
for
hold
any
on. Let
school
me
or
finish.
college.
No, let me finish.
Any
No,
school or
but let me
college.
finish. No, but let me finish. Let me finish, please. But there are people that are going to still be true, whatever that color is. The same thing is happening with Trump. When you are taught loyalty, I'm not talking about right and wrong. When you are taught loyalty, like you said, you was true Biden because you know about loyalty. You're part of that loyal generation. So, like when I was coming on, I
But
was
I
saying,
got
hey,
a
I'm more
brain
about
too. I got a
democracy.
brain too. People got
No,
brains.
but it
I'm
doesn't
not gonna
negate the
be
fact
loyal to
that people's
somebody
psychology.
that ain't right. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
you're loyal. What I'm saying is Penn State and other universities that have
They're
taken
great
advantage of
universities.
athletes and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, but what I'm saying is they've taken advantages of athletes, have done athletes wrong, they've done students wrong, but nevertheless, people are loyal to those. So we
Yeah.
as people are flawed and we're loyal to negative things. So I don't have a problem with the people being loyal to Trump.
I
Because
have
it's a lot of people loyal
problem with it.
to negative stuff.
He's a racist and a bigot, in my opinion. And so I have a problem with
And
that.
so, and so a lot of our schools.
Well,
So a lot of our big schools. If the athletes weren't making the money, they wouldn't let them black kids get on their college.
that's that could be true. But I'm just
Oh,
saying.
could be true. See, that's what I'm saying.
Could be.
America don't want to tell the truth. We don't want to tell the truth, Doc.
Well,
So I'm
we
gonna
know
protect my
America's-
precious
we know-
color.
we
the
know
policemen-
America's history.
Policemen know that they are dirty cops, but we're like, well, there could be some bad cops. There's some bad cops. You don't want to go against the code. You know what I'm saying?
If
So
you're-
when we don't want to go against the code and we don't want to tell the truth, then let us all just put our banners like we are some bona fide liars. We're gonna be hypocrites until
Well,
with the people that I like stand
some
up.
people
Then
have
I'm
been
gonna close my eyes
misled.
and say, but everybody got something wrong.
Well, I would never say everybody is perfect. You know what I'm saying? We know that that's not true, but we have to use some discernment. If a person is trying to do the right thing, you know what I'm saying? Then I got respect for them. But
Back in the
we're losing you. But
okay.
people have their loyalties or whatever. But just listening at what you were saying, if you have a sense of right and wrong, and you can be honest with yourself, you can look at these two men, at Biden and Trump, and if you use just common sense, and nobody's perfect, as you were saying, but 45, but Trump, I mean, he's not even trying to conceal it anymore. He told the black women in Congress, he told them, why don't they go back where they came from? And I think Ocasio said, what are you talking about, Brooklyn? The four, I forget the nickname he gave them. One lady is nationalized. She's from Africa, but she's an American citizen. The other three are born right here in America. He told them to go back, where they came from. And then he says that the people at the border, are coming in from Mexico, they're coming in from Africa, they're coming in from wherever, and that they are poisoning our blood. This is the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. I can't ride with that, So he's shown who he is, what he is, and how he thinks. So in my opinion, if you can support a person like that, then you need to take a look in the mirror. And once again, Biden has some flaws, but
Biden gone, Doc. We need to be talking about Kamala. Biden gone.
What I'm about to say still applies. Biden, he's still the president.
Okay.
He has some flaws, but Trump is a demon with claws. And
absolutely. Vote Democratic Party. Let's get Kamala Harris in and save democracy.
And Kim typed into the station that Trump is far from good looking. I think you were saying something about the Antichrist being good looking. And then Greg,
I didn't say that. I said television. We were talking about the electoral college and dealing with what people fall into.
And Greg says he is also a womanizer. You know what I'm saying? When he was dealing with the, I want to call the lady prostitutes, but that's what they've been called in the news, with the sex workers or whatever, when he was having those relationships, Melania was pregnant, and, he's in the Oval Office. So, I think Biden said he has the morals of an alley cat or something. But, this dude is something else. He's spoiled and he's rich and he's used to doing whatever he want to do, and he's been exposed, but people still support him. And as Michael Jackson said, he's looking at the man in the mirror.
Yeah, that's what Kim said. Yeah. So, and that's a good thing. If we look at ourselves, look at what we're doing, what we're going to do about whatever has come up before us, what's our decision? So I was on the call with the 8.5 thousand men on Monday night.
Vote for
made
Kamala.
my contribution. Huh?
Vote
I
for Kamala.
gave my contribution. I put my money where my mouth was, is. So doing some grassroots in Michigan and Nevada to get people out to vote. We want to get those with clean slate in Michigan. If you're a felon, you can go online, look up clean slate in Michigan, and to get exonerated from your past felons, and then we'll help you get your voting rights. So the thing about it, there's an urgency, and even if you can't get your voting rights back before time for the election, you can be a volunteer. You can hand out. Let's not talk about it, but let's put our feet to work. Let's use all of our positive resources to get it done.
Team, let's get that number back up. Anybody that want to call in, I look forward to talking to you. Share your thoughts. 234-444. Obviously, we still got a few bugs to work out here in the studio, but this is something that I wanted to do. And some prayers about the times that we are living in, because it's so different than what it was just a few Got a guy that right now is being allowed to run for the highest office in the land. Still qualified. And there are a lot of just basic 8 to 5 jobs that if you have a felony conviction, and you can speak on it some more if you like, where things that was once these are the times that we're living in.
Well, I think the word gives us a understanding of what we need to be prepared for. Some people take the word of God and use it as this is an exact. So if someone say, hey, you're going to be attacked in 2026, that doesn't mean that you just need to, get rid of all of your weapons. I think they're letting you know if you're going to be attacked in 2026, you need to be arming yourself. The book says in the last days, right would be wrong and wrong would be right. Well, for me, that tells the families and tell people we need to double down on truth. We need to not necessarily ban and censor, but we need to curtail one of the biggest issues that American history is not really paying attention to is world history. Mostly every great power has fallen from within, and most of it deals with sexuality. We don't like to talk about sexuality in America, but like right now, we're dealing with these doggone pronouns.
Everything is made sexual.
Made sexual, but look, when you and I were kids, a boy was a boy and a girl was a girl. What Tom was Tom at 4, and at 40, Tom was not Samantha. You know what I'm saying? so
Be careful now. Be careful. You're gonna create some feelings.
No, I ain't being careful. That's look, this is the good bishop. This is not Dr. Taylor. This is the bishop. I'm not afraid to speak on the bull crap. You having doctors now that are afraid to do certain surgeries because this person want to identify as one thing, but their DNA says something totally different. So as long as I like how the young lady Candace Owens, when what the boy name is, Don Lemon had her doing the interview, and she asked him how she felt about gay marriages. She said it's a sin based on her beliefs, and she said, it's wrong. So he says like, oh, so you think we're sinning? She said, absolutely. So I'm not going to be into your psychosis because in American history, up until 1974, the American Psychiatric Society said that people who was of the gay persuasions had a mental defect. But because people want to play different games, then all of a sudden we change the laws. That's why we have to have legislatures who are going to be in office and tell the truth. Switzerland and other countries have been decided what they're going to do. Oh, let me say this. Let me pause here and say happy birthday to Detroit. And this is something that they're not teaching. America is a baby who grew on steroids on a world scale. America is not 1,000 years old. We don't have 1,000 years of history to determine what we're going to be. America is in its adolescent stage. So we're trying to figure out who we're going to accept, what policies we're going to put together. I like what President Obama and others have said. We're dealing with an experiment, which means we are the laboratory for Britain, looking at how this thing may play out sometime. So just like Detroit is growing, I think Detroit is in this 130 or some year. Whatever the correct numbers, I was just listening to the radio and listening to others celebrating Detroit. America is a baby, and some of these other countries have already determined what they were going to do with the gay community. They're like, hey, y'all can go ahead on be civil marriages, but you're not going to be able to adopt children because you're not going to twist children's minds to believe that this is right. And those who say that they got good sense and common sense and said, no, I ain't going to get in that. No, you're just a punk and don't want to lose your money. Yeah,
living in perilous times.
So money, money is the ruler because we don't want to get shut down. We don't want to get canceled. So we shut up and we swallow. Yeah. And America is about the money. That's why they poison us in our food. That's why the pharmaceuticals are ruling. So hey. So yeah. We're going to be always stuck when we choose not to tell the truth. And when you don't, Jesus said the truth is going to set you free. So long as we want to lie, and then when the truth is being told, we're like, oh no, we don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Hey, let's let the liar, let the liar run.
A few minutes ago, you mentioned something about an experiment, and I have this refrigerator sticker that says, this life is an experiment. And he says if it was a real life, it would come with more instructions. So
I like that. Yeah. I like that.
So we're living in an experiment, but it's perilous times. There are a lot of changes that come about, and it could be good, especially like in technology and learning and just society and its development, et cetera, but a lot of things should have been left alone, should have been remained the same. And without going into it deep, that's what you were really speaking about. I'm heterosexual, I believe what I believe, but I don't think anybody should be mistreated, because of their choices, whether you agree with it or not. But that's certainly, huge in society today, and not just in America, but around the world. You know, things are sure enough different. Um, and a lot of things should not have been messed with. You know, some good basic training, but uh, you know, God is good, and everybody should be treated fairly. But you know, we have our own different views and opinions. You know,
Well, and I'm just going to echo on this, Dr. Keller. I 100% concur. I use the term humanitarian because if we treat everybody like they're human,
mhm.
and once we can get to that part, like this is a human being who should not be beaten, stabbed, molested because of their color, their religious affiliation, their sexual orientation. You know, I think that comes in humanity. And then when we start talking about not so much as morals, but what is right for the overall society. When because I got to go soon, but we might pick this up at a different time because I was in a conversation about birth control, and my statement was this country is so ruthless and so male dominant. We have in America, white, black, everything, the birth control pill is given to the woman, but yet you want to tell the woman what she's supposed to do with the body, but there's no kind of birth control pill for the man. So our country will always be wrong when we want to give one side the responsibility of being responsible and leave it up to another society or another set of people to be irresponsible. So I tell you what, if they mandated men to take a pill to make sure that their stuff was weak, there would be a backlash about
just
that.
just
But
be
but
just
it's all
do
but it's,
total abstinence, Bishop. Just keep it zipped up.
no. What I'm saying is that we push the women to be responsible and we leave the man to be irresponsible in that era.
Yeah.
And it's so common. We act like that's supposed to be what it is. And then when we have these fraternity courts and all that, but I'm holding to my statement. If men were forced or made to do something about our private parts where it wouldn't work and to block us from having kids, that would be a bunch of backlash and fighting. I'm like, no, I ain't taking no pill. I ain't taking no shot. You ain't doing nothing to
Well,
my
society has
manhood.
never
But
been
it's all right.
equal when it comes to
Look,
men
look,
and women.
look. But that doesn't mean that it's supposed to stay that way. It doesn't mean it's supposed to stay that way. All
Women by men, I'm sure, that came up with that idea. Those things are turtle for the ankle. They look sexy. They look good.
Because the man want to see that don't stick up a little height. Yeah. I got to go. I'll see you next week.
We both have to take off. You know, it's been great. We're still working out some bugs with this podcast. Conversation with those that are interested in, you know, listening to us. To 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The show is called Get Back Up. Go Blue and Michigan just win another national championship. I thank you all for listening. I'm Dr. Billy Taylor. I want to say hello. Please be kind to everyone. You never know what they can do or what they
knocks you down, get back up. I'm Dr. Billy Taylor, and I'm out of here.